Here are today's top stories. The COMELEC expects to proclaim the winning senators in the midterm elections on Tuesday. The Light Rail Transit Administration orders an investigation on the collision of two LRT2 trains on Saturday. The Philippine News Agency calls on Asian nations to foster unity through mass media. And a 67-year-old athlete brings home 4 gold medals from the Southeast Asian Athletics Championship in Singapore.
Good day, I'm Rom Dulfo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Our top story, 12 senators and party list groups may be proclaimed Tuesday. In a press conference this morning, COMELEC spokesperson James Jimenez said that the winning party lists will be proclaimed in the morning while the new senators will be named in the afternoon. As of Sunday night, the National Board of Canvassers has already accounted 162 out of 167 certificates of canvass. The 5 remaining COCs with a total of over 1.68 million votes will be coming from Isabela Province, Japan, Saudi Arabia, US, and Nigeria. Jimenez said with the smooth-sailing special elections in Jones, Isabela, the election returns are expected to be delivered on Monday night. Based on the partial unofficial tally, Cynthia Villar still leads, followed by Grace Poe, Bongo, Pia Cayetano, Ronald De La Rosa, Sonny Angara, Lito Lapid, Amy Marcos, Francis Tolentino, Coco Pimentel, Bong Revilla, and Nancy Binay. Senator J.V. Ejercito trails in the 13th spot. The COMELEC is nearing its estimate of between 75 to 78% voter turnout in the recently concluded May 13 midterm elections. COMELEC spokesperson James Jimenez said as of Sunday, the initial figure of the number of voters that participated in last Monday's polls is 75% or more than 46 million registered voters. The COMELEC, sitting as the National Board of Canvassers, has canvassed 162 out of 167 COCs as of Sunday evening. He also reported that the voter turnout for local absentee voting is at 77.08% or 22,602 people who actually voted out of the 29,326 registered voters. Members of the LAV are personnel of the Philippine National Police, AFP, other government employees, and members of the media. Meanwhile, preliminary data from the Office for Overseas Voting show that the voter turnout is 20.66% or over 21,000 voters. In the 2019 polls, voters have elected 12 senators, 1 party list group, 1 governor, 1 vice governor, provincial board members, 1 mayor, 1 vice mayor, and councilors. 27 politicians with alleged links to the illegal drug trade reportedly won local posts in the midterm elections. PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde said the 27 were among the 37 politicians who sought local government posts and won. A total of 47 politicians were named in President Duterte's supposed narco list. Albayalde said some of the winning narco politicians were elected mayor and governor. Some of the winning narco politicians came from Central Luzon and the Southern Tagalog region. Albayalde says the PNP is still investigating their names in the narco list. In other news, thousands of teachers, students, and school personnel will initiate maintenance works as Brigada Escuela of the Department of Education begins today. The Eco Waste Coalition called on participants to use ways that don't worsen pollution as they renovate and repair school facilities. This includes the use of paints with lead and hazardous cleaning agents. All government agencies are in full swing as well in preparation for the start of classes. The Philippine National Police are coordinating with the DepEd and the Commission on Higher Education, or CHED, to provide security for the return of about 30 million students to school. The Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, or PDEA, is also participating in efforts to prevent the involvement of school children in illegal drugs and other crimes. Malacanang is encouraging Filipino workers in Canada to seek help from the labor attaché in case of problems. This as the palace assures OFWs of continued support despite the pullout of the country's envoys. More on this and other news around the metro from Janice Cave.
Malacanang advises Filipino workers in Canada to refer their labor issues to the Philippines Labor Attaché. Despite the pullout of its envoys over Ottawa's garbage issue, presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo assured Filipinos of continued assistance from the government. The Department of Foreign Affairs ordered the recall of Philippine Ambassador to Canada Petronila Garcia and other envoys after Canada missed its May 15 deadline to ship out its exported garbage from Manila. Meanwhile, black propaganda against President Duterte may have bolstered the chances of the administration's senatorial bets in the recent elections, saying more Filipinos are not swayed by the black propaganda being thrown against the president and his family. PCOO Secretary Martin Andanar said the president's performance added to the credentials of the administration's candidates. In other news, LRTA Administrator Reynaldo Beroya has ordered the creation of a fact-finding committee to investigate the collision of two trains of the LRT2 on Saturday night. Beroya assured that the LRT2 is still safe to ride and that the collision is an isolated incident. 34 passengers and train personnel were reportedly injured in the accident. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
Still to come. The Philippine News Agency Director calls on Asian nations to foster unity through mass media. 4 government agencies discuss the alleged spread of fake vinegar in the market. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
The Environment, Tourism and Interior Departments recommended to close Boracay for 6 months.
To address issues such as illegal structures and faulty drainage systems that is affecting Boracay's prized beach.
The last time na nandito is 2017. It's actually crowded. Sobrang dami ng tao. Everywhere, makikita mo talaga bars and drinks and masamahalat talaga.
We had more cases of skin disease. We had more cases of diarrhea.
So nagkasama-sama lahat ng mga agencies, tiningnan ano ba ang plano natin sa Boracay, compliance on Clean Air Act, Clean Water Act, at saka yung ating environmental compliance.
When they started demolishing, we saw that there was action, that they put their money where their mouth is.
Lahat ng nagamit na tubig ng customer, we collect it through our sewer lines and then it goes through a treatment process sa treatment plant.
It was nice that it happened. Finally, Boracay got the attention it is in deep need of.
I think a lot of work was done during the closure. The water is clear, the oceans are clean, there seems to be a lot of wildlife returning. We had for the first time in 10 years, we had turtles hatching on the beach a couple of days ago.
During the closure, you could see like the eagles came back and everything that we have had for a long time.
Pumasyal pa nga yung mga kondito udanding, galing na Cebu.
In the end, it's a good thing, yes. It was hard for us, but it was also a wake-up call.
The beach was cleaned up and is officially set to reopen on October 26th.
Wala lang na kumakain sa beach, bawal ng manigarilyo.
Gumanda yung isla namin as in bumalik sa dati na ambience.
We teach kids about pollution, solid waste management, because they're the ones who will sustain all the things that we're doing now.
Asia is a region of diverse cultures and beliefs, but it has the potential for growth through a united front. With this in mind, our very own News and Information Bureau Chief Gigi Arcilia Agtay attended the 2019 Conference on Dialogue on Asian Civilizations in Beijing, China. In her speech during the sub-forum entitled Sharing Experience on Asian Governance of the 2019 Conference on Dialogue on Asian Civilizations, or CDAC, she said Asian nations emerge as a truly communicatively constructed system. when communication and public relations are viewed as tools for creating and maintaining relationships internationally. She cited the need for Asian nations to make use of the media to foster unity through communication.
With more than 1,000 ethnic groups in Asia, we see a need to bridge the gaps and break boundaries among Asian nations towards a united and prosperous region. The diversity of Asia in terms of religion, ethnicity, culture, and language provide cause to unify the people of more than 40 Asian countries towards a harmonious coexistence that espouses learning and building of a shared future. Unlike in previous times when information transmission takes a long time to reach end users, current media trends and technology make available real-time information just about anything from different parts of the globe. I am urging fellow journalists and communicators as catalysts of unity and understanding to make use of multimedia platforms in bridging communities, bridging nations, and bridging civilizations.
The forum, which was one of the 3 sub-forums hosted by the Publicity Department of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China and organized by China International Publishing Group, was attended by more or less 232 participants composed of senior government officials, representatives of international organizations, think tank leaders, experts and scholars, representatives from the press and business community from 48 countries. The 3 sub-forums were part of the 2019 Conference on Dialogue on Asian Civilizations that runs from May 15 to 22.
The House of Representatives approved today on third and final reading House Bill 8961, reviving the Mandatory Reserve Officers Training Corps, or ROTC. 106 to 7 voted in favor, 4 opposed, and nobody abstained. The measure implements mandatory military training for grades 11 and 12 in public and private schools as requisite for graduation. A counterpart bill is still pending in the Senate.
The Davao Light and Power Company is expecting a 30% increase in electricity demand in its franchise areas by 2023. Based on the continued economic growth across the country, the power company expects demand to go up from 421 megawatts in 2018 to 546 megawatts by 2023. This as the city gears up for the construction of the more residential buildings, a hotel business park, a multi-purpose indoor arena, a factory, and schools between 2019 and 2021. Davao Light serves Davao City, Panabo City, and the towns of Carmen, Duhali, and Santo Tomas in Davao del Norte province. The town of Donsol and Sorsogon, the Worldwide Fund for Nature Philippines, and the Department of Tourism have renewed their commitment for a sustainable and balanced ecotourism program. Under the renewed agreement signed Friday on the sidelines of the Butanding Festival, they would vigorously enforce the protection of the endangered whale shark, which is endemic in the province. They will also intensify their campaign against destructive fishing practices such as dynamite fishing, which put additional pressure on the whale shark's population. Donsol Mayor Josephine Alcantara Cruz pledged to facilitate the development and improvement of facilities, saying they would manage and maintain the sites and provide safety to tourists. This year's Butanding Fest runs on May 17 until 24. A magnitude 4.2 earthquake rocked Masbate this morning. Meanwhile, farmers report about 11 million pesos in agricultural losses in Guimaras due to El Nino. These and other news from the provinces from Miguel Hill.
In Masbate, a magnitude 4.2 earthquake rocked the province at 6:45 this morning. PhilVolts said the epicenter was located 8 kilometers from East Limbuhan. Intensity 1 was felt in Masbate City and Legazpi City. No damage or aftershocks are expected. In Guimaras, the Provincial Agriculture Office posted a loss of about 11 million pesos worth of agricultural products due to El Nino. High-value crops like vegetables, cacao, and coffee were the most affected. Damages in rice was pegged at less than 1 million pesos and about 200,000 for the corn. On the other hand, El Nino is a favorable weather to mangoes, cashew nuts, and salt. No municipality has been placed under a state of calamity. In Bacolod City, a second edition of Bacolod Chicken Inasal Festival will be held on May 25, following its success last year where 3,000 pieces of chicken parts were prepared for the festival. At least 25 establishments have already confirmed their participation. This year's festival will still feature 300 meters of barbecue grills lined up along Araneta Street. In San Jose Occidental, Mindoro, a trainer craft carrying a Filipino pilot and Saudi Arabian student pilot has gone missing after taking off Friday morning at San Jose Airport in Occidental, Mindoro. The whereabouts of the two passengers and their ill-fated aircraft is still uncertain as of now. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Miguel Hill.
Up next, the 2019 Prisa Sports Meet opens in Davao City. A 67-year-old athlete brings home 4 gold medals from the Southeast Asia Athletics Championship in Singapore. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
Sa pagplansya, konsumo sa kuryente kayang pababain the easy way. Ay sadyang kuripot ako, hindi ko sasayangin ang pera ko. Ang init ng plansya ay dahil sa kuryente, kaya dapat hindi nasasayang ang init na ito. Dini sa amin, maramihan at naka-schedule ang pagplansya. Ang iba dyan, papira-piraso kung magplansya. Paiinitin ito. Tapos, isa o dalawa lang ang paplansyahin. Yung nagawang init ng kuryente, sobra-sobra, hindi napakinabangan, sayang lang. Ay no sa akin yan. Pag maramihan ang pagplansya, mas napapakinabangan natin ang init nito. Inuuna namin ang makakapal. Dito nakataas ang heat setting niya. Pagkatapos ng mga makakapal, ibaba na ang setting. Para naman yung maninipis ang paplansyahin. Tapos, yung ilang huling piraso, madalas 3 panyo, ina-unplug na namin sa kuryente. Oo, may sapat pang init ang plansya para unatin ang mga panyo ko. It's magic. Hindi na nagamit ng kuryente, may napaplansya pa. Okay, hindi ba?
Sa paggamit ng plansya, i-diskarte mo. I-power mo, i-safety mo, i-secure mo, i-diskarte mo.
In sports, this year's National Private Schools Athletic Association Games, or PRISA, formally opened on Sunday in Davao City. Philippine Sports Commission Chair Butch Ramirez led the opening with officials of the PSC, Commission on Higher Education, or CHED, Department of Education, or DepEd, and the local government of Davao City. Ramirez told participants to take into heart the lessons of sportsmanship and camaraderie. This is the first time Davao City is hosting the event since its inception in 1953. Over 7,000 college-level athletes and coaches from 16 regions will compete in 19 sports events until May 24. Nearly 500 campers joined the Bacolod leg of the Alaska Basketball Power Camp 2019 in Bacolod City. The Bacolod training camp, which ran from May 10 to 16, saw the most number of participants among the 3 events conducted in various cities this summer. The Manila leg lured 195 campers, while Baguio camp drew more than 300 young basketball enthusiasts. Camp director and former PBA star Jeffrey Carriazo said they teach participants the core values to be a good citizen and better athlete. Bacolod head coach Mark Tata Bilangel noted the growth of the campers, some of which became varsity players in various schools. He said Bacolod has numerous talents waiting for an opportunity to be trained and become champions. Filipino journalists and government media workers participate in the training seminar on collaboration between the Philippines and China's media industry. Zhao Zhihong, Deputy Director General of the National Radio and Television Administration, led the opening of the 14-day seminar for media practitioners of the Philippines in Beijing on Friday. He said China is willing to continue to strengthen cooperation with the Philippines in the fields of news exchange, program production, technology research and development, industrial development, and human resources construction. The Philippine delegation, led by PCOO Director Vinci Beltran, consists of media practitioners from the PCOO and its attached agencies, as well as members of the provincial media. A 67-year-old athlete who still competes in international sports brought home 4 gold medals from the Southeast Asia Athletics Championship held in Singapore from May 3 to May 6. Joyce Cudis with the story.
Age is never an issue for 67-year-old bemedaled athlete Arlinda Lavanya, a retired police who during the service represented the country in various international athletics competitions as a member of the Philippine team. After her retirement in 2008 as police chief inspector, she went on to hone her athletic skills and continue to compete and serve the country through sports. Lavanya won gold medals in the javelin throw event, recording a distance of 25.6 meters, discus throw event with a distance of 18.99 meters, shot put at 7.25 meters, and hammer throw event with a record of 20.8 meters. She bested athletes from several countries such as India, Malaysia, and Singapore. She said her secret is getting full sleep every day, plus a balanced diet composed of lean meat, fruits, and vegetables. Lavanya will again represent the country in the Masters Athletic Championships from November 28 to December 9, 2019 in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Joyce Cudis.
Let's check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Here's another look at today's biggest stories.
The COMELEC expects to proclaim the winning senators in the midterm elections on Tuesday. The Light Rail Transit Administration orders an investigation on the collision of 2 LRT2 trains on Saturday. The Philippine News Agency calls on Asian nations to foster unity through mass media. And a 67-year-old athlete brings home 4 gold medals from the Southeast Asian Athletics Championship in Singapore.
Thank you for watching another edition of the PNA Newsroom.